man, this resolution talk is really getting me down. I go onto Twitter to see what people are talking about. And it's just resolution this, resolution that, all because of a simple graph that was released. This talk of 4K, checkerboarded 4K, true 4K, how much better one version is versus another version, 720p, 1080p. Oh my god, it drives a person absolutely crazy sometimes when all they really want to do is just game. Now, okay, the Xbox One X. It was built to run games the best. The best frame rate, the potential best resolution over its competition being the PS4 Pro. It launched a year later. Everybody knows this. It was $100 more expensive than the Pro. It had better specs than the Pro. So nobody should be surprised when the system runs games better. But yet when a simple comparison graph showing the difference in resolutions between the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X comes out, and someone tweets it out, and then it gets retweeted out by everybody, including executives, people lose their effing minds. They go into this damage control that I just don't understand. Not only damage control on the Xbox side, promoting the tweet, talking about 4K and how this is all the best and the best way to play. But then you have Sony guys damage controlling the tweet, saying we're the exclusives. Sony doesn't do this stuff. That's why they're winning, and things along that nature. And it's just so disappointing. So we're going to take a look at all this stuff. And it's going to be interesting to look at. You know, I try to do my research as best as I possibly can. And this is the comparison chart that has everybody's panties in a wad. Okay, you have the PS4 Pro stuff on the left, the Xbox One X stuff on the right, the resolution boost in the middle with the resolutions on the left and the right for both. And it lists a bunch of multi-platform games. Diablo 3 runs 1.6 times better on the X. Shadow of War has a resolution boost of 1.8. Assassin's Creed Origins 1.6. I mean, you can see it for yourself. Wolfenstein 2, Titanfall 2, Hitman 2, all with a 2.2 times resolution boost. Evil Within 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Witcher 3, Destiny 2, Fallout 4, For Honor, Injustice, Ghost Recon, Fortnite, Homefront, all with huge resolution boosts, and they picked, obviously, handpicked, cherry-picked the ones that actually have the biggest increase in resolution, right? But why this bothers anybody, I don't understand. It's just numbers on a graph. Yes, the Xbox One X can display Assassin's Creed Origins at a higher resolution than the Pro. But like I mentioned before, everybody knew this was going to happen. It's a system that came out a year later with better specs, $100 more. You should just look at this information and be like, okay, the X is a more powerful machine, and move on and go play your games. But of course, when executives get involved, people just lose their freaking minds. And let's just look at it, right? So this came out, and Spartan Blem retweeted this tweet and said, now the difference is real. There's no more a little gap as before, the gap is huge. And now there's no official resolution list by IGN, GameSpot, blah, 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 talking about resolution gate and media bias and all that stuff. Now, where it gets kind of funny, interesting, is that, well, some of the Xbox executives decided to have fun with the tweet itself. You can notice Mike Ibarra here retweeted it and said, nice chart, the X difference. And of course, people get upset about that. Aaron Greenberg did the exact same, retweeted that tweet, and said, this list sums up what I love about the Xbox One X, hashtag X gonna give it to you. Now that's a dumb hashtag, but whatever, right? Now people are saying the executives shouldn't play into this console war bullshit, right? Because that's what people think. Ybarra and Greenberg retweeting a list about resolution differences is feeding into the console war and all that stuff. But it's really not. I'm going to tell you what it is. All this stuff is marketing, plain and simple. That's all it is. And yet people get so angry about it. They lose their minds. They go in people's timelines and tweet about it. They go in people's YouTube videos and comment about it. They lose their minds when Ybarra and Greenberg are just doing their jobs. What is the competitive advantage? Now think about this for a second, guys. What is the competitive advantage that the Xbox One X has over its competition? I'll wait a second. Think for yourselves. What's the competitive advantage? If you said that the console is more powerful, so games run better with the higher resolution difference, you'd be right. And what exactly is Mike Ybarra and Aaron Greenberg highlighting in this tweet? That exact competitive advantage. The advantage that if you want to play multi-platform games, the best place to play them is on the Xbox One X. It's the reason they built the system. That's what they said from the original reveal of the X. The best place, can't even talk. The best place to play all of your games. So of course, the executives, the marketers, they're going to highlight this difference. It's called marketing, right? Now you may disagree with that type of marketing, but that's what it is. Now, of course, people have what I would like to call short-term memories. Really short-term memories. Because at the beginning of this generation, Sony was doing very similar things, right? Now, right here we have a tweet from Shadid Kamal Ahmad. Now, sorry if I said his name wrong. He was the senior business development manager for SCEE. And he put two tweets together that still people talk about today. One of them being, there are two words you're going to hear a lot when it comes to PS4, and together they changed the game. 1080p, 60 frames per second, right? Now notice the tweet, November 11th, 2013. Now his other tweet that he put out, roughly the same day, was, give me 60 frames per second or give me death, right? Now, this guy was a Sony executive at the time, doesn't work for the company anymore. But someone bigger than him actually talked about this stuff, right? I pulled up a GameSpot article where they talked about how native 1080p allows you to be a better gamer. Sony president Shuhei Yoshida and PS4 lead architect Mark Cerny argue that developing games in 1080p makes a difference. Now keep in mind, the article date, November 12th, 2013, right around the time of the PS4 launch, when they knew that the Xbox One, the OG Xbox One, was a weaker system and was going to play games at a much lower resolution and lower frame rate. So what exactly did they talk about? He says, Shuhei Yoshida says, I don't think any team is just fixated on 1080p. It's just one of those options. But 1080p allows you to be more precise and a better gamer. That's clearly the benefit. Now, Mark Cerny said that resolution does make a difference. One point of confusion is that people say, oh, you won't notice the difference because you can't resolve individual pixels unless you're very close to the TV set. But even if you take a 1080p image and scale it down to 720p, it looks better. That's called super sampling. It's a very specific quality graphics technique. In NAC, for example, there is no 720p mode. If you're playing on 720p HD TV, we're just scaling the 1080p down and it looks better than if we had just produced the image at 720p. All the details of the scene are much more visible as a result. Oh my god, I'm getting flashbacks to last year when Microsoft was talking about super sampling 4K to 1080p, right? It's like almost the same exact thing. And there's Mark Cerny saying resolution does make a difference. Shuhei Yoshida saying that 1080p allows you to be a more precise and better gamer. Now we got one more thing here to show you. And this is Shuhei Yoshida retweeting an article from Eurogamer.net about the Xbox One resolution gate, the 720p Fallout. And he says, ooh, an interesting article, right? Scroll down even more, and someone says, perhaps you and Adam Boy should do another educational video highlighting the benefits of 1080p versus 720p. Ha 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 ha. And Shuhei Yoshida replies with a graph of, 1280 and 720 versus 1920 by 1080 and all this stuff here. Now, were they engaging in console war like Mike Ybarra and Aaron Greenberg were with their tweets? Because they're all virtually similar. I don't think so. They were both engaging in what I call marketing. The PS4 had a couple competitive advantages. One of them was that it was a more powerful system. More games were going to run at 1080p versus the Xbox One. And what did Sony do? Well, they wisely played up that factor. 1080p is going to be a better gamer. Mark Cerny is saying resolution makes a difference. Yoshida tweeting out a graph about what you gain in 1080p versus 720p, right? Yoshida retweeting an article about the games in 720p on the Xbox One. It's not console war stuff. This is just marketing. This is telling people, look, this is what we have on our side. On Xbox One X, we have a resolution difference. Games will run and perform better on the system. You should pick it up. Flashback to Sony, 2013. Resolution matters. 1080p makes you a better gamer. Look at the graph. They are playing to their competitive advantage over the Xbox One. And that was, it's cheaper and it's more powerful because there's more resolution and more pixels and those types of things. Hell, people even get upset when you talk about that sharing video, which I always thought was absolutely genius. And you know what? Let's look at that video right now.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
Now that is a great piece of marketing. It's like 30 seconds long. It says all it needs to say, but even back then, people were saying Sony was delving into the console war. But I disagree. That video was magnificent because it played to a competitive advantage over the Xbox One at the time. If you recall, the Xbox One was going to have DRM, and there was this whole nonsense about, well, who could you trade your games in with and all that stupid stuff. And Sony took that, ran with it, and made a video that's 30 seconds long, that has 16 million views, and is one of the reasons why they won the entire generation. A brilliant piece of marketing. Not console war stuff, not console war BS, but marketing. And if you haven't realized my point at this time, all this stuff here is just marketing. It's just executives doing what they have to do to promote the system that they are working for with the competitive advantages they have over the competition. And if you guys don't realize that by now, if you guys see this stuff and think, oh my God, how could they possibly do this? How this is horrible. They're playing into the console war. You're in your feels too much. They are just promoting a product they are selling the best way they possibly can. And I know what the comments are going to be filled with, but I wanted to make this video because people, number one, have short memories, and number two, believe everything that people retweet and whatever on Twitter is just part of the console war. Stop it. Think for a second. Use the common sense that God gave you. Logic. Shuhei Yoshida and Shahid Ahmad were just doing marketing to sell the PS4 in the same way that Mike Ybarra and Aaron Greenberg are trying to sell the Xbox One X. And if you don't see that, log off the internet for a couple days, get your thought process right, and reevaluate. Because if you think this is some grand conspiracy, some console war BS, then you're completely wrong. Anyways, that is the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. Consider sharing this video out on social media. as I would greatly appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button, as, always looking to get more people into the fold, trying to grow the channel even more for 2018, so I would really appreciate that. Hope everybody had a great day. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Later, guys.